Happy New Year, guys. Thanks for joining me. I've put together a tarotscope for January 2021. However, I decided to call this Volume 2021 and use it to project the energies for the year because I really feel that that's what the cards were showing. So I think what I'm about to present to you, we will start seeing develop now, January 2021. But we will see these events and this energy take over for the entire year and could even extend beyond that. You'll see what I mean as I get going here. So I did a traditional favor challenge theme like my colleague Joan does. And the favor was the Three of Swords. Now, that's an ugly card. You don't need to be a tarot reader to look at that imagery and see that that's a little bit gnarly. That's a gnarly looking card right there. So I was not happy to see that pulled, but I guess if I had to pull it, that was probably the best position for it to be in. The challenge was the Knight of Pentacles. Now, these two look like they should be flip-flopped, but it is what it is. And then the theme was the Ten of Pentacles. Now, before I even move on, you can just look at the images there and see that we're going from some really difficult times and things are improving. So that in itself is really optimistic, and I was happy to see that, even though that Three of Swords is present. So some traditional meanings for the Three of Swords before I begin. It's raw pain, it's suffering, it's betrayal, it's truth discovery that proves to be very difficult. It can indicate separation, division, and it can also allude to accidents, death, and trauma. So Three of Swords, as it applies just generally speaking to the collective for 2021 without reading it in its position, it indicates to me that we have events that are coming that will cause the collective to feel the emotions associated with this card. These events may include violence, catastrophe, feeling betrayed by the establishment, and these are all coming on a level that we have never experienced before. These are not necessarily events we are involved directly in, but rather they may be things that we simply witness, and they can be perceived as traumatic. So I'm not trying to put fear energy out there, but I do want you to recognize that some of the situations approaching us and, some of the planetary aspects that are happening, still really indicate that we're in some very volatile times and anything can happen. So forewarned is forearmed. So how the hell do we read this as a favor? Well, after the initial hurt associated with the Three of Swords, the Four of Swords is a card that follows. And that card reflects a time of peace, healing, reflection, and regrouping. So I feel like that our energy is already trying to make its way to us. So in this position, it indicates that either a healing is already occurring or we recognize that we will need to heal. I interpret this to mean that we already expect something is going to happen. We already know something's going to happen, and we're anticipating the pain that comes with that, and we are ready and open to the healing process that needs to take place after it occurs. With this Three of Swords, a new way of thinking will emerge from the pain that is suffered in this card. There will be new lessons that we will learn and can apply going forward from this card. So yes, it's heavy, but we need to take the lessons that are associated with this Three of Swords, heal from them, and apply the lessons going forward. So the Knight of Pentacles, who is in our challenge spot, traditional meanings for this card are it's an earthy energy that is very grounded. It is slow movement forward, but the end result will eventually be realized. It shows steady progress and reliability. And it's a card that demonstrates working toward a goal. This is a card of work, so it doesn't necessarily mean things happen easily or quickly. This is slow, steady progress through hard work. So how are we going to read this Knight of Pentacles as our challenge? Well, it can be inability or difficulty moving forward. This could be literal due to the events and restrictions that are forthcoming. This is lacking or missing opportunities, losing motivation to try, feeling stuck in the mud, feeling ungrounded or insecure. Improvement is very slow to come or stalled altogether. This can symbolize that people or events are working against us. There's a lack of cooperation, a stubbornness, and an unwillingness to bend or be flexible. This could indicate that markets, both financial and the job market, will be very unstable and experience setbacks. It could imply that resources will be lacking or in short supply. It can also indicate that the establishment may become inflexible and rigid. So how do we overcome this challenge? We can network and connect with people within our local community that share the same passions and mindsets. We can prepare for shortages the best we can. Become resourceful with belongings and supplies. Offer to help and aid one another physically, emotionally, and financially. And remember that hard times do not last forever. Our next card, the Ten of Pentacles, some of the meanings attached to this card include strong foundation and legacy. It is acquired security and accumulated abundance after hard work and over a period of time, possibly a lifetime. It could represent family, community, and the establishment. It can be a card of real estate, inheritance, and shared resources. And it can suggest sticking to a way of life, doing things the way we have always done them, or staying with what is tried and true. Now, that can be both a blessing and a curse, depending on how stubborn you get or rigid you get in your mindsets. So the theme, as the Ten of Pentacles in this position as the theme, I should say, represents the feeling of community that will be established as a result of the changes around us and as a result of that difficult situation in the Three of Swords. It represents support from our family, friends, and community. It suggests that overall we'll be sharing resources and maintaining stability the best we can, probably more at the local level and between our own people. It demonstrates the comfort that we have had over the years by living in the country we do and having the material advantages we have had here. It represents the establishment and how secure our country has been overall, both financially and from any attack and violence. This card also reflects the end of a cycle and the beginning of a new one. Changes in our economy and markets are to be expected. So what is the summary and what else can we get from this message? I think it's safe to say that events are going to take place that will forever change our lives. These events might not happen directly to us, however, their impact will be felt around our country and around the world, and it will be difficult to process and can even be traumatic for some. It will feel like there is no end in sight and progress to rebuild is very slow to come. But during this rebuild, a strong sense of community emerges as we all work hard to achieve a new version of what was. We will come back bigger and better than ever with a strong foundation built on hard work, steady progress, community, and common goals. We will build something we will be proud to leave our children, where there are values, morals, and equality. I think we're also going to find that our country literally divides. Now, we're divided on so many levels as it is already, but I don't mean just about, having philosophical differences or differences of opinion. I almost feel a literal division taking place. And I don't know if our country separates into 2 or 3 different countries, if people that, have one viewpoint move to one location and others move another, or if the government structure itself breaks down into a few different entities. And I almost wonder if that's not the case, and that um, the governing bodies have more power at the local level than at the top level. So we're definitely going to see some changes in terms of that. With health, I feel that's improving. If you look at those cards, everything looks to be improving, quite honestly, albeit slow. So, in terms of the virus, I do feel that situation improving drastically. However, it's going to take time. So, I don't think we're going to see much in the way of change this year in terms of how we're living our lives, or, having to wear a mask. But I do see that situation improving. And at some point, I do feel it will go away enough that we can almost have some normalcy back. We can expect the establishment to continue being difficult and stubborn in terms of regulations, enforcing rules, just being really, really difficult. I usually call it tightening the noose. I see that happening. I do see a change with that, though. It's not, I don't feel that's going to be forever that way. But I do see restrictions getting tighter. And closing with this set of cards, anyway, with this particular slide, I guess I should say, I just want to say that it's darkest before the light. You can see that in that picture. And we are absolutely in dark times. We're headed into a bit more. And, having said that, light always wins, and you can see it represented in these cards. So as far as I'm concerned, with that Three of Swords in the favor position, that's telling us we've already won. Things are already getting better. I do think there's just a bit more that we have to go through first. But I see it as the people have already won and light has already won. Dark and anything corrupt and evil and not for our highest good is going away. So looking at this from a personal standpoint versus a collective standpoint, we may experience personal pain and setbacks around the same time the events on the world stage are happening. You may find yourself in situations where you are separating from or severing relationships. Some could be family. This could be due to conflicts, due to being stubborn or an inability to change ways or ways of thinking, truth discovery, or betrayal. This will be a painful experience, but healing occurs. And given the cards, I do feel if there is a desire from both parties, the relationship could be mended over time. But it will take work, and it doesn't happen overnight. Some may experience loss in the form of a passing of someone in the family. This somehow allows the family to mend, or there is financial improvement after the grieving of this person. Loss of more jobs will occur. Some losses could be due to the personal choices that need to be made regarding testing, immunizations, etc. It may not be easy and feel like there is no choice or opportunity, but make sure you connect with the people and stay open to new forms of income. Get creative, don't quit, and the situation will improve. Events on the world stage may make you feel unmotivated or ungrounded. Seek out family or people who are like family to help push you through these difficult times. Overall, this spread is tough, but it is positive, and that is where we need to focus our energy. I feel like we will see major events happen soon, and then throughout the year. There are extremes with both highs and lows in 2021. Once the dust settles, we will rebuild a new government, sense of community, financial system, and a new world. This will not be an overnight process, so don't get mixed up that, big, great changes in 2021. This is going to be a slow road to hoe. It will take years for this to happen. I feel a lot of change happens over 3 years, and I think 2020 was one of those 3 years. So 2020, 2021, 2022. And then there's this transition, and we build from there. This process could take a minimum of 5 years, 10 years, or even longer. The longer we focus on the loss and the loss of what was, the longer it will take for us to start moving forward. So we need to focus on the future and what we can do to improve the lives of our children going forward. So in closing, I just wanted to add a quote that I have recently discovered, and I think it summarizes the Three of Swords that we have been feeling and we are about to feel. It states, there is sorrow in some of the lessons we need to learn, but they show us how to survive, thrive, and grow. I don't know who the author is of that quote, but I liked it and I thought it was very, very appropriate for this tarotscope. So be prepared, guys. We're in some turbulent times right now, but just know on the other side of this, there's light. There's light. The light's already won. So be well, be safe, and I'll catch you next time.